Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was an Indian philosopher and statesman who served as the President of India from 1962 to 1967. He was a respected scholar and teacher, and his work on comparative religion and Indian philosophy made him a leading intellectual figure of his time. Radhakrishnan was born in a small village in present-day Andhra Pradesh and received his early education in local schools. He went on to study at Christian College in Madras, now Chennai, and at Oxford University in the United Kingdom. He became a professor of philosophy at several Indian universities and was known for his lectures on the Vedas, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. In addition to his academic pursuits, Radhakrishnan was also active in the Indian independence movement. He served as the Vice-Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University and as the Ambassador of India to the Soviet Union and the United States. He was also a member of the Constituent Assembly, which drafted the Indian Constitution. Radhakrishnan was known for his pluralistic and inclusive approach to religion, and he worked to promote understanding and cooperation between different faiths. He was awarded numerous honors, including the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian award, and was widely respected as a moral and spiritual leader. Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan's birthday, 5th September, is celebrated as Teachers' Day in India in his honor. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was a freedom fighter and one of the founding fathers of the Republic of India. He is also known as the Iron Man of India due to his uncompromising will and determination to unite the hundreds of princely states in India after the country gained independence from British rule in 1947. Born in a small village in Gujarat, Patel studied law in London and returned to India to practice as a barrister. He became involved in the Indian independence movement and rose through the ranks to become one of the key leaders of the Congress Party. Patel was instrumental in negotiating the merger of the princely states of India into the newly independent nation. He used a combination of diplomacy and firmness to bring over 560 states, including some of the largest and most powerful, into the Indian Union. This feat earned him the nickname the Unifier of India. Patel also played a key role in the integration of the armed forces and the establishment of a national bank. He served as India's first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Home Affairs, and worked to establish a secular and democratic nation. Despite his many achievements, Patel is often overshadowed by Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, who is better known internationally. However, within India, Patel is highly revered and remembered as a national hero. His birthday, 31st October, is celebrated as National Unity Day. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was an Indian independence activist and the first President of India, serving from 1950 to 1962. He was a key leader of the Congress Party and played a central role in the Indian independence movement, serving as the President of the Constituent Assembly that drafted the Indian Constitution. Prasad was born in a village in Bihar and received his early education in local schools. He went on to study law at the University of Calcutta and became an advocate in the Patna High Court. He became actively involved in the independence movement and was imprisoned several times for his participation in civil disobedience campaigns. After India's independence, in 1947, Prasad served as the Minister of Food and Agriculture in the interim government. He was then elected as the first President of India in 1950 and served 2 terms in office. During his presidency, he worked to establish a strong and united nation and played a key role in the development of India's nuclear program. Prasad was a widely respected and influential figure in India and was awarded the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian award, in 1962. He was known for his simplicity and humility and is remembered as a national hero in India. Swami Vivekananda was a Hindu monk and one of the most influential spiritual leaders of the 19th century. He was a key figure in the introduction of the Indian philosophies of Vedanta and Yoga to the Western world, and is credited with raising interfaith awareness, bringing Hinduism to the status of a major world religion during the late 19th century. Vivekananda was born as Narendra Nath Datta in Calcutta, and was deeply influenced by his guru, Ramakrishna. After the death of his guru, he travelled to the United States and represented India at the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1893. Where he delivered a historic speech on the principles of Hinduism. Vivekananda's message of universal brotherhood and acceptance of all religions resonated with people in the West, and he became a famous speaker and writer, establishing branches of the Ramakrishna mission in several countries. He is also credited with helping to raise the status of women in India and promoting education for all. Swami Vivekananda's teachings and writings continue to be widely influential, and he is remembered as a national hero in India. His birthday, 12th January, is celebrated as National Youth Day in India in his honor. Jamshedji Tata was a pioneer of the Indian Industrial Revolution and the founder of the Tata Group, one of India's largest and most respected conglomerate companies. He was born in Navsari, Gujarat, in 1839 and received his early education in local schools. Tata began his career as a trader, but he had a vision of building a modern and self-sufficient India. He established the Tata Group in 1868, and over the next several decades, he founded a number of companies in diverse industries such as steel, power, hotels, and aviation. Tata is credited with introducing several revolutionary technologies and business practices in India, and his companies were known for their high standards of quality and ethics. He was also a philanthropist and established the Tata Trusts, which continue to support a wide range of social and economic development initiatives in India. Jamshedji Tata is remembered as a visionary and a national hero in India, and his legacy lives on through the Tata Group, which is now a multinational corporation with a presence in more than 100 countries. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India and a key leader of the Indian independence movement. He is also known as the architect of modern India due to his role in shaping the country's economic and political landscape after independence. Nehru was born in Allahabad and received his early education in England before returning to India to study law. He became actively involved in the independence movement and was imprisoned several times for his participation in civil disobedience campaigns. After India's independence, in 1947, Nehru became the country's first Prime Minister and served for nearly 17 years until his death in 1964. During his tenure, he implemented a number of significant economic and social reforms and worked to establish a secular and democratic nation. Nehru was a strong advocate of non-alignment and played a key role in the formation of the non-aligned movement. He was also a key figure in international relations and was instrumental in the establishment of the United Nations. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru is remembered as a national hero in India, and his birthday, 14th November, is celebrated as Children's Day in the country. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India for 3 terms, serving a total of 15 years from 1966 to 1977 and again from 1980 to 1984. She was the first and, to date, the only woman to hold the office. Gandhi was the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, and she followed in his footsteps to become a key political leader in her own right. Gandhi was born in Allahabad and received her education in India and abroad. She became involved in the Indian independence movement at a young age and later served as a member of the Congress Party. She was appointed as the Minister of Information and Broadcasting in the 1960s and later became the Prime Minister after the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri in 1966. During her tenure, Gandhi implemented a number of significant economic and social reforms and played a key role in shaping India's foreign policy. She was known for her strong leadership and decisive actions, and was sometimes referred to as the Iron Lady of India. However, Gandhi's rule was also marked by controversy and allegations of corruption. She declared a state of emergency in 1975, which was widely criticized for civil liberties violations. Gandhi was assassinated by 2 of her own bodyguards in 1984. Despite the controversies surrounding her rule, Gandhi remains a significant figure in Indian politics and is remembered as a national leader. Swami Dayanand Saraswati was a Hindu religious leader and a founder of the Arya Samaj, a Hindu reform movement that advocated for the adherence to the Vedas, the ancient scriptures of Hinduism. He was born in Gujarat in 1824 and received his early education in local schools. Saraswati was deeply influenced by the teachings of the Vedas, and he spent years studying and interpreting the scriptures. He believed that the Vedas contained a universal truth that was relevant to all humanity, and he sought to spread this message through his teachings and writings. In 1875, Saraswati founded the Arya Samaj, which sought to purify Hinduism of its superstitions and rituals and return to its original teachings. The movement gained a large following and played a significant role in the Hindu Renaissance of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Saraswati was also a social reformer, and he advocated for the education of women and the abolition of the caste system. His teachings and writings continue to be widely influential, and he is remembered as a national hero in India. Mahatma Gandhi was a key leader of the Indian independence movement and is remembered as the father of the nation in India. He was born in Porbandar, Gujarat, in 1869 and received his education in India and England, where he trained as a lawyer. Gandhi returned to India in 1915 and quickly became involved in the independence movement, leading a series of non-violent protests against British rule. He believed in the philosophy of satyagraha, or non-violent resistance, and his method of civil disobedience inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. Gandhi was a key figure in India's struggle for independence, and his leadership was instrumental in the country's eventual freedom in 1947. He was also a social reformer, and worked to improve the status of the poor, women, and untouchables in Indian society. Gandhi was assassinated in 1948 by a fanatic who opposed his philosophy of non-violence. Despite his untimely death, Gandhi's legacy lives on, and he is remembered as a symbol of peace and non-violence around the world. Subhas Chandra Bose was a freedom fighter and an influential political leader in India's struggle for independence from British rule. He was born in Cuttack, Odisha, in 1897 and received his education in India and England, where he studied at Cambridge University and qualified for the Indian Civil Service. Bose, however, was not content with a career in the civil service, and he became actively involved in the independence movement. He was a member of the Congress Party, but differed with Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance and believed in the use of force to secure independence. Bose was arrested and imprisoned several times for his participation in the independence movement, and he eventually fled to Europe in the 1930s. From there, he sought international support for India's independence and formed the Indian National Army, INA, with the support of the Japanese during World War II. Bose's role in the INA and his efforts to secure India's independence through military means made him a controversial figure, but he is remembered as a national hero in India. He died in a plane crash in 1945, under disputed circumstances. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad was an Indian independence activist and a key leader of the Indian National Congress. He was also a scholar and a writer, and is remembered as one of the most influential intellectuals of modern India. Azad was born in Mecca and received his early education in the Middle East and India. He became actively involved in the independence movement at a young age and was imprisoned several times for his participation in civil disobedience campaigns. Azad served as the president of the Indian National Congress on 3 occasions and was a key figure in the negotiations for India's independence. He was also a strong advocate of education and served as the first Minister of Education in the Indian government after independence. Azad was a highly respected leader, and his contributions to the independence movement and to the development of modern India are remembered with reverence. His birthday, 11th November, is celebrated as National Education Day in India in his honor. Rabindranath Tagore was a Bengali poet, philosopher, and polymath who is remembered as one of the greatest figures in Indian history. He was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913, and his works have been translated into more than 50 languages. Tagore was born in Calcutta, now Kolkata, in 1861, and received his education at home. He was a prolific writer, and his works include poems, plays, stories, and songs that explored themes of human emotion, nature, and spiritual consciousness. Tagore was also a social reformer, and he established a school, Viswabharati University, in Santiniketan, West Bengal, which was based on his vision of education as a means of fostering free and creative thinking. Tagore's contributions to literature and education have made him an enduring cultural icon in India, and his birthday, 7th May, is celebrated as National Education Day in the country. Madan Mohan Malviya was an Indian independence activist and a key leader of the Indian National Congress. He was also a scholar and an educationist, and is remembered as one of the pioneers of modern education in India. Malviya was born in Allahabad in 1861 and received his education in local schools and at Banaras Hindu University, which he later went on to lead. He became actively involved in the independence movement and was imprisoned several times for his participation in civil disobedience campaigns. In addition to his political activities, Malviya was also a strong advocate of education and worked to establish schools and universities that were accessible to all, regardless of caste or religion. He was a founder of Banaras Hindu University and served as its vice-chancellor for several years. Malviya's contributions to education and to the independence movement have made him an enduring figure in Indian history. His birthday, 25th December, is celebrated as National Education Day in India in his honor. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was an Indian independence activist, social reformer, and the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. He was born in a lower caste Hindu family and faced significant discrimination and oppression throughout his life. Despite these challenges, he rose to become one of the most influential leaders in Indian history. Ambedkar received his education in India and abroad and became a barrister in the 1920s. He was a key leader of the Dalit, formerly known as untouchables, community, and worked to improve the social and economic status of these marginalized groups. In addition to his work on behalf of the Dalits, Ambedkar was also a key figure in the Indian independence movement and served as a member of the Constituent Assembly that drafted the Indian Constitution. He is remembered as a champion of social justice and equality, and his contributions to the shaping of modern India are widely revered. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar's birthday, 14th April, is celebrated as Ambedkar Jayanti in India in his honor. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was an Indian reformer and thinker who is widely credited as the father of modern India. He was born in 1772 in a small village in Bengal and was influenced by the teachings of the Hindu scriptures and the Bhagavad Gita. He was also deeply influenced by the teachings of Christianity and Islam and sought to bridge the gap between these religions and Hinduism. Roy was a strong advocate for women's rights and worked to end the practice of sati, the ritual of widows immolating themselves on their husband's funeral pyre. He also founded the Brahmo Samaj, a social and religious movement that sought to reform Hinduism and promote monotheism. In addition to his work on social reform, Roy was also a journalist and translator, and translated many Western works into Bengali. He was a vocal critic of the British colonial government and worked to improve the rights and conditions of Indians living under British rule. Despite facing opposition from both Hindus and the British government, Roy's efforts played a crucial role in the development of modern India, and he is remembered as one of the country's most important figures.